stepping in
spectacular,
as well.
over the top. I mean, that was a full force shot to the temple. I mean, he's right now. So they wipe off his gloves, but you look at him like he's really feeling it right now. I mean, he probably has no idea where he is.
When I'm going to take your soul, and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter.
Likely that one big shot's going to land if the guy's not throwing other shots. So I thought with less artillery in the air, less bombs in the air, that the guy would have a chance to get to later rounds.
Joe Rogan couldn't stop laughing as Jake Paul hit the canvas after Anthony Joshua's knockout punch. Sitting ringside next to Joshua, Rogan said anyone who's watched real boxing knew how this was going to end. He reminded viewers that Jake usually fights aging MMA stars or retired boxers, not a former Olympic gold medalist and two-time heavyweight world champion. Joshua's skill, experience, and natural power, Rogan said, made it less of a contest and more of a reality check. He added that from the moment the fight was announced, the result was never in doubt. The knockout didn't shock him. It simply confirmed what everyone already expected.
Well, realistically, it's one of the craziest propositions of all time. You take a guy who just had a boxing match that looks like a sparring match with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the
After the fight, Anthony Joshua didn't hold back in his post-fight comments. He said knocking Jake Paul out early probably saved him from a worse beating. Joshua explained that if the fight had gone on longer, he would have broken Jake down piece by piece, physically, mentally, and emotionally. According to Joshua, the clean finish wasn't cruelty, it was mercy. He believed the referee stopping it when he did was the best outcome Jake could have hoped for.
It's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's going to happen? I'm going to see a time when I'm going to take your soul, and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct.
The moment talk began about Joshua facing Jake Paul, the boxing world split down the middle. Some thought it was a money grab and nothing more, while others saw it as a chance to test how far Jake had really come. Still, most fans and analysts agreed it looked like a mismatch from day one. Joshua is a seasoned heavyweight champion, Olympic gold, world titles, years of elite experience. Jake, by comparison, is still a newcomer trying to build credibility. The difference in class, size, and skill was too big to ignore. When Joshua's right hand shattered Jake's jaw and ended the fight, broadcaster Simon Jordan called it a dark day for boxing, saying events like this make the sport look like a joke.
Because straight after the fight, I heard the question being posed to Joshua, will he now fight Fury? And then my first thought was, after what I've seen, who cares? After that, who cares if Joshua fights Fury? I like Anthony Joshua immensely, Spencer. Any exchanges I've had with him, I think he comes across terrifically well. But I fail to see where it's taken us, where it's taken him, other than hugely increasing his bank balance. You know, I really fail to see what this has done.
Well, it's done nothing, but he was going to fight in November, like I said, and he's just gone in there against Jake Paul. What has it done for his legacy? Absolutely zero. But it was, you know, he's earned a lot of money doing that. And he's going to go again, and he's going to fight possibly February, March, and then there's that Tyson Fury fight that's looming that could happen in September, whether Tyson Fury decides to come out of retirement or not come out of retirement. For Anthony Joshua, he's earned a hell of a lot of money. This is prize fighting, and that's what it's all about. And that's what he's done. And
Simon Jordan later expanded on his point, saying these types of fights blur the boundary between true competition and social media entertainment. He argued that matches like Joshua versus Jake Paul draw attention away from real fighters who've earned their spot through years of training. Jordan also said Joshua has already done everything: world titles, huge paydays, a global fan base, and doesn't need sideshow fights to stay relevant. Even if the much-talked-about Tyson Fury bout never happens, Jordan believes Joshua could walk away today completely satisfied with his achievements and wealth.
Earning more than Joshua. That apart, Spencer, 6 rounds to get Paul out of there. Reputationally, how does it leave AJ?
Well, thankfully, it didn't go to points, because I think that would have been a disaster for Anthony Joshua. I think that he needed to get the job done inside the distance, you know, and he done it. Look, he could have done it at any given point. I think that he could have cut the ring off whenever he wanted to and got Jake Paul out of there. He took his time on that. He allowed Jake Paul to run around like a rabbit and throw the occasional shot from time to time. And I think he only landed one clean punch, didn't he, Anthony Joshua? And that was the one that broke his jaw in 2 places.
But, I mean, you said, did you not, to us in this very studio the other day, he's got to get him out of there in round 1.
I did.
Otherwise, what are we seeing?
Exactly that. And I think what we saw there was a little bit of entertainment. And that was pretty much it, but not entertainment that many people enjoyed, if I'm honest. I think that people wanted to see a demolition.
Joe Rogan later doubled down on his praise for Joshua, calling him one of the most athletic heavyweights ever. He pointed out how Joshua moves like a middleweight despite being a 6'6", 243-pound powerhouse. Rogan said his combination of speed and knockout strength makes him terrifying, the kind of fighter who can end a match in one blink. He described Joshua as a nightmare matchup for any crossover fighter because once he closes the distance, it's over. For Rogan, putting anyone like Jake or Logan Paul in the ring with Joshua just doesn't make sense at a professional level.
But this is a giant Olympic gold medalist heavyweight. I mean, Anthony Joshua is fucking
Here's the
terrifying.
thing that nightmares are made of.
And he's got that one-punch nuclear power. One punch.
Trainer Adam Booth, analyzing the fight afterward, gave Jake Paul credit where it was due. He noted that Jake actually managed to make Joshua miss at times, which showed discipline and a solid game plan. Booth said that kind of defensive improvement means Jake's not just throwing wild punches anymore. He's starting to understand ring IQ. Forcing a boxer like Joshua to reset even briefly isn't easy, and Booth called that a sign of real progress. But he was quick to add that it didn't change the outcome. Once Joshua adjusted, his experience, timing, and power decided everything. Booth summed it up by saying Jake showed potential, but Joshua reminded everyone what a real heavyweight champion looks like.
Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul shared a ring. Your takeaways from the 6 rounds that we saw, presuming you watched?
I was impressed with Jake Paul. I thought that, following on from what we're saying, right? A few years ago, he was on Disney as a kid, acting up, and has decided to become a professional fighter. That takes balls, but he's obviously striving to be as good as he can be. You can see that in the way that he moves, the way that he is developed in how he's punching and performing. But to make a 2-time world heavyweight champion that's still live, AJ's still got something about him, to make him miss in such an accomplished manner. All right, so at times he was jumping out and running around, but there were times when he was well in range and still making AJ unable to land a clean, solid shot. He deserves a lot of respect for that. And then the shot that actually finished the fight, that broke his jaw quite badly, didn't put him out. That shot's that shot he threw with serious intention has put a lot of professional heavyweights to sleep. He didn't go to sleep. He actually finished on his knees, didn't he? Laughing and spitting blood out of his mouth. So, like they say, like it's a special type of crazy and a special type of brave to do it. But I actually, hats off to him because he showed that he's developing some accomplished little skills in there to look after himself. The size difference is always going to fatigue him.
I know everyone will come with the idea that, AJ should just go in there one round and smash him to bits, and that should be it. It was a big ring, right? Perhaps he could have cut the ring off a bit better, but would I be right in saying that regardless of skill level, if you forget about that with the 2 for a second, if someone is on the back foot on their bike and doing what Jake was doing, it's difficult no matter who you are, no matter the kind of separation in skill level.
It's a big ring, and you've either got to run at him and look like a novice yourself, or just take your time and understand.
After the fight, all eyes turned to Logan Paul, who was seen talking to Joshua and hinting at revenge for his brother. Reports suggested Logan wanted a shot at Joshua himself. That idea was immediately laughed off by analysts and former pros alike. They pointed out that Jake trains full-time under top-level boxing coaches, while Logan's focus is split between business, wrestling, and media appearances. They said a Logan versus Joshua fight would be so one-sided it might not even last a round. Most agreed it would do nothing but make boxing look like a circus act. Commentators compared the brothers' dedication to the sport. They agreed Jake has taken boxing seriously. He's improved, trained hard, and fought regularly. Logan, meanwhile, still treats it more like a show. Even though Jake lost badly, analysts said he at least proved he can compete at a basic professional level. Logan, they argued, is nowhere near that. A Logan versus Joshua fight wouldn't just be a mismatch, it'd be pure comedy, the kind of thing that would draw views for all the wrong reasons. When it was all said and done, the result felt inevitable. The fight looked uneven before it started, and the actual contest proved it. Joshua's size, hand speed, and knockout accuracy left Jake no chance to recover. Still, Jake showed courage by stepping up in flashes of defensive improvement that suggest he's learning, but there's still a massive gap between his current level and where Joshua stands as an elite heavyweight. The difference between the two wasn't just visible, it was overwhelming.
Would be more of a mismatch than Jake Paul. You know what I mean? Because at least Jake Paul has taken boxing or has trained with real boxing trainers and real boxers. Whereas Logan Paul, you know, he did that exhibition with Floyd, and Floyd's a little guy. Not saying a little guy can't thump, because Floyd really gave him some two pieces with no sides, right? But at the same time, you take his friend, Floyd's friend, Anthony Joshua, and get hit by him and see what happens. The same thing. Probably worse, because I think Logan, you know, he's a little taller than Jake. And because he's a little taller than Jake, he may think he's a little stronger than Jake. Which I don't know which one's true or not. I don't think it makes a difference. But because he may feel that way, he may want to go in there and try to bang it out with AJ. And if that happens, it's going to be a lot quicker. See, that 6 rounds it took AJ to finally catch Jake. It took that way because Jake was on that bicycle, moving, being elusive, trying to come in and then come out. He tried to do a very poor man's Alexander Usyk, right? And it didn't work for him. Logan ain't going to do that. Logan's going to come in throwing punches and bunches like he did with Floyd, trying to get him in there and, you know, do all this stuff. And what's going to happen as soon as AJ lines him up, sets his punch, he's going to hit Jake and he's going to break Jake down.
In the end, 2 stories came out of this fight. One group believes crossover boxing hurts the sport by turning it into reality TV with gloves on. The other group respects Jake Paul for stepping into the ring with one of the most dangerous heavyweights alive. No matter which side you're on, the fight made one thing crystal clear. In boxing, skill, experience, and real power always win. That wraps up today's breakdown. Tap the like button if you enjoyed the coverage, and make sure to subscribe for more real takes and fight analysis. Stay tuned, more updates from the world of boxing and MMA are coming soon.